Steam Powered Education presents Beginner's Guide to How to Make a 1-72 Model Hurricane Fighter Plane. Okay, today we're going to start and help you in your beginner's guide to making a Hurricane Mark II-C, which is a kind of later version of a Hurricane by Revell Models, and hopefully this will help you improve your skills without having to go through all the processes of making tremendous mistakes. Revell would like you to mix paints to get exact colours. Mix the paints well for about 30 seconds. Notice I don't waste much of the paint. I turn the brush to use all the paint above the brush head. Closely examine the instructions. And clean your brush very well. With oil-based paints, use turpentine or white spirits. Here I'm examining the instructions for what would be good to paint on the sprue. The wheels will be good to paint on the sprue. Again, always mix your paints well. The cockpit has some black in it. It's a good idea to paint the wheels on the sprue, as the sprue holds the wheels in place whilst you're painting. The wheels are so fiddly that if you took them off and tried to paint them, you'd just be painting your fingers all the time. I mean, you could use tweezers, but it's probably better not to. Some of the plastic mould mistakes have to be cut off. Notice I turn the sprue, not my hand. This helps you cut more carefully and paint more carefully. Again, clean the brush thoroughly. Putting the cockpit together. Always try to test whether a piece fits together before you glue them in place. Here I'm testing how the fuselage fits together. It needs bending into shape. Here I'm testing whether the cockpit instrument panel looks good if I brush over with a semi-dry brush effect. I decided to go for the instrument panel provided with the decals. These are the decals for the cockpit instrument panel. Cut out the decal and drop into water. Wait for a minute to soak the decal enough. Take out the decal carefully. Line up the decal onto the model part. Slide off the decal carefully. I use a craft knife or a paint brush. Here I am inserting the cockpit instrument panel. When gluing the fuselage, only glue the holes they provide. This will not make the model covered in glue. Sometimes you need to check that it sticks together well. I might need holding it together for a minute or so. Some people use elastic bands or clamps. Rebel wants you to drill holes in some parts. Don't ever put too much glue on your models. As you can see here, I'm just dabbing the sides. Here I am testing to see if the wings fit to the fuselage. Not quite enough glue. Keep checking your work. Always try to rub off any glue that builds up on your fingers, or it will end up spoiling your wings. These are the engine exhausts. They are metal and rust colour. This requires mixing silver and brown. Here is a good time to use tweezers. Sticking the tail planes on is trickier than you think. Check to see if they fit into the tail before gluing. When sticking, remember that the tail planes will flop. So hold them in position for a bit and keep checking. And now for the undercarriage. This is very fiddly. Look at the instructions carefully, or the undercarriage will collapse easily. So fiddly. You must work fast. It's so fiddly that the tweezers are needed. I'm painting the inside of the engine intake with a mix of silver and brown. Clean your brush thoroughly again to save your brushes. I'm drilling another hole because something Revel forgot to include was a hole for the small instrument underneath the wing. The plastic moulding around the drop tanks is poorly moulded. I'm having to chop out excess plastic. See here, quite a lot of excess plastic. Always wipe away any bits of plastic or paint from your surfaces, otherwise they kind of get mixed in. Another poorly fitted piece that needs holding. See, I'm wiping away the glue. Try and keep the glue to a minimum, otherwise it spoils the finish. Here I've realised that the 20mm cannons need to be painted silver and black. This is a gunmetal colour. Also, the propeller needs painting black. Now the instructions on gluing the propeller need careful attention. If you glue the wrong part, the propeller won't turn. Now for the cockpit canopy. And now the painting. Notice no canopy yet. If I had added the canopy, I may have painted some of it accidentally. If I were to do this again, my recommendations are I should have painted all the parts on the sprue section first. Therefore, the instructions should have recommended that pieces I should not have been stuck on until after the painting. I think definitely the painting first. The cannons, the cockpit canopy, the engine exhaust, the wheels. But here is the final product. Sorry about the zoom focus. It's an old but trusty flip cam. The decals and painting could have been better. These decals are for the number 28 Squadron, Southeast Asia Command, India, 1944. Education production by Robert McGregor. It's a 1/72 model Hurricane 2C manufactured by Revel Models. And once again, thanks for watching.